Hi, welcome to the IV Trainer video. IV Trainer is the only compact self-contained training device for practicing multiple needle insertion techniques. And if you use a 22 gauge needle over and over, the skin and the tubing will reseal so you can use it as many times as you'd like. We provide an IV trainer that you can buy with the full supplies, or it comes with a supply kit that you can order, which also includes 3 feet of tubing, a replaceable foam pad, and our patented artificial skin, so you can provide realistic punctures, and as the skin wears out, it can also be used for suturing. I'm saving a little time here by filling up some of the syringe with fluid already, and also I have a catheter to show you about the needle insertion, but the IV trainer will come without a catheter and without fluid, but this makes for a quicker training video. So when you first get the IV trainer, it will come looking like this. You can take off either of the end caps. It will have one piece of artificial skin that comes across it. It has one foam pad, and it has 3 pieces of tubing. This piece of tubing I've already put fluid in, and it has a stopcock on it, but when you initially get it, it will not have fluid in it. Also, one of the tips I'm going to recommend for the tubing that you decide to put fluid in, we do recommend doubling it over the surgical tubing clamp so that fluid does not leak out the end. The skin can be replaced, and then the other tubing, of course, can come off. Again, this gap here is designed with an arrow so that if you do want to practice tension pneumothorax with needle sticks between the second and third rib, you can do that once it's fully assembled. So putting it back together, it's simple as putting the foam piece over it, taking a piece of surgical tube, and for the ones that you want to do dry veins, we recommend just doing a loop with one clamp. You can make this as long as short as you'd like. It will loop in right here out of 2 of the 3 gaps in the IV trainer. I put that back over. Then I take the one that I filled with fluid. This can also be hooked up to an IV bag or a saline bag, depending on if you want to use, and you can also dye the fluid. Here it's dyed red, so you can see that. And your IV trainer will actually come with red tubing, so you can denote the one that you want to fill with fluid. It also hides the fluid so that when practicing, you cannot see that, but then you can look for the vein and get a flashback with the catheter. So I loop that in, and then what I recommend is putting one of the caps back on. And depends on if you're practicing with a disposable IV container or needle container. If you have one near you, in practice in the hospitals, of course, putting your sharps inside a disposable container. But if you're in the field or somewhere remote, we recommend leaving one of the end caps off so you can put sharps back in after you've done the insertion. So I then will tuck that back in. I'm going to do that in this case. I'm going to put it back on. Then the IV pad, or the artificial skin, will loop right back over the IV trainer here and fit all the way over to create a snug IV trainer. Then, of course, the way we've designed it is we recommend keeping one loose so you can practice a rolling vein. The 2 that are dry are designed so that you can practice over and over again before sticking the one with fluid. But of course, if you would like, you could fill them all with fluid. And then you have the one that is wet. We call the wet vein. You can use any size catheter. We do not provide the catheters with that or the needles, but here I'm going to show you. And we do recommend you can then search for the vein and insert it. And you may not be able to see it, but you will get a flashback as long as it is full with fluid or it is tied up to an IV bag so that fluid comes through it. Here I did not add enough pressure to do that, but of course that is the goal, and there the fluid actually is coming out. You can see here that I did a good stick. So I'm going to pull that out, set that off to the side, and now I'm going to talk about the replacement kit. So that's the IV trainer. If you purchased a replacement kit, you will get 1 foam pad. We include 4 artificial skins. There will be 4 extra clamps. The stopcock will be included with the initial IV trainer. So will the syringe. So those 2 will come with the initial IV trainer. And then you'll have 3 feet of tubing. You'll have 2 feet of yellow amber tubing and 3 feet of red tubing. For the red tubing, so that you can denote the liquid vein. A couple last tricks just to recommend. When you get the tubing, sometimes it can be hard to insert it inside of the clamp. So what we'd recommend is cutting the tubing at a slight angle with just any pair of scissors, and then you will be able to insert that into the clamp and pull that through. Now again, we'll give you multiple clamps, so when you're doing a dry vein, you can put 1 on each end or loop it over and loop the other end in that way. But if you are doing a wet vein, we do recommend you loop over the end so that it comes in like this, so you do not have any leakage when you put the fluid in. So in this case, if I was making a wet vein, I would take that, I would reopen the IV trainer, and again here I already have a wet vein. In this case, I would then loop it in to see the length I want. I would like a little bit extra, at least 3 inches, but longer depending on if you are going to hook it up to an IV bag. Then what I would do is trim it. I'm going to trim it here. And then for the stopcock, for putting on the, whether you're going to tie it up to an IV bag, it just takes a little bit of finagling to slide it in. Spin it, twist it, and then you'll be ready to go. Then the syringe, if you want to put fluid, we'll put that on here. You will fill it up separate. Then you can open up the stopcock and slowly inject the fluid into it. Be slow here, because if you put too much pressure on it, it will definitely squirt all over you. Once you have it full, you can lock it, take the syringe off. Then you can reattach the artificial skin here. Put the end caps back over. And now you have an IV trainer that is ready to practice your insertions. Thank you very much. Have a good day.